Get some tunes up. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard today's edition of Postal Nation. Keep it quick, keep it short. All of these people lied about General Flynn and all of us for years. All of them. And if this were the old days, that wouldn't go unanswered. If this were the old days, things would be in motion right now. Things would be happening. But so my question really is, where's the apology? Where's the apology to those of us in MAGA who lost our reputation? Where's the apology for General Flynn's reputation? Where's the apology for putting his family through all that? Where's the apology for claiming that he was involved with Russian agents? Where's the apology for any of this? People screaming at him in the airport that he's a traitor to his country. Man who served his country for 33 years. Combat veteran. Right? Are you going to see Jake Tapper apologize? Are you going to see Chris Hayes? You might see Chris Hayes. You know. But are you going to see any of these people? Here's the issue, right? Here's the issue. Because America is in a fourth turning right now. America's in a fourth turning right now. And the fourth turning is the crisis point. Fourth turning is the crisis point. And once the crisis is passed, the cycle restarts. So the fourth turning doesn't go to a fifth turning. At the end of the fourth turning, right? You got to understand, if you understand fourth turning theory, the fourth turning is the crisis. But after that comes the first turning again, and that's rebirth. And we lead, and it takes, they say that it takes the idealists to take the charge to lead out of the fourth turning into the time of rebirth. And that's a new first turning. That's a new first turning. But the problem is the crisis isn't over. Because it's actually the third turning that starts with the decay of the institutions. But you see, you don't know about the decay of the institutions until you're in the fourth turning, right? Which we're in. So when you look at the FBI, when you look at the CIA, when you look at the WHO, right? Everywhere you look, there's institutional decay. Everywhere. And that's indicative of the third turning. That means we passed through the third turning. We're currently in the fourth turning. Who is Crossfire Typhoon? George Papadopoulos. We're in the fourth turning now. We're in the fourth turning right now. But it's going to take people with vision for this country and for this world to lead us out of the fourth turning. It doesn't just happen by itself. You got to, that's what we need to understand. We need new builders and new visionaries. We need visionaries to move us out into the future. All right, we're in what? America 7.0 right now. We have to move into America 8.0. All right, we need to move into America 8.0. What's that going to look like? What's that going to look like? All right, we need a rebirth of our Constitution. We need a rebirth of the Republic, or we're going to lose it, or we're going to lose the Republic. This past cycle was the cycle of socialism, right? We moved away from it. We moved away from our Republic. We moved towards something else. And that was the crisis. And now we're moving back. We can move back if the visionaries can come forward. And so I think communities and families is going to be the structure that we need to base this on. We need to go back to communities. We need to go back to families. We need to understand that the cult of the individual is not the basis of our republic. We need to understand that the love of money is the root of all evil. We can't put the GDP ahead of our families. We can't put the love of the GDP ahead either, or the love of money. Get it? The love of money. Can't do it. Can't do it. And that means, and this is going to be, see, if someone just said, yeah, you're blocked. You're blocked. Imagine saying that family values and constitutional values is socialism. Do you understand the conditioning that it takes you? How conditioned are you and pre-programmed to say when I say we need faith in our communities and we need to have family values, and you tell me I'm a socialist? Are you serious? Think about that. Think about yourself. What kind of conservative doesn't believe in family values? What kind of, that's not a conservative, it's a libertarian. I did a whole Periscope about this, right? So we need to stop with the false labeling. We need to stop with the false labeling. We need to stop with the false labeling. We move forward. Families and communities. We can't continue to put money before the people. We the people. We the people. Yeah, get unplugged from the matrix, please. Please unplug from the matrix. If I do anything with this public, platform, this career that I didn't ask for, that I never thought that I would be in this position right now. But here I am with, this platform and with this ability. So while I have a voice, I'm going to have something to say, right? And I'm going to use something to say with my voice. Are the intel agencies in decay? What kind of a question is that? Have you been paying attention? Have you been paying attention? And by the way, I say that as a former intelligence officer, right? Like, I'm actual former intelligence officer. That's what they did. Top level clearance, TSSCI, all of it. And I'm not just riffing when I tell you guys this stuff. I'm not just looking at things and yelling on the internet, right? Like I'm telling you, I lived it. I was in the intelligence community throughout 2016. Throughout. And then I left. And I left. And I got out. And I started my family. And I love my family. Now, the core of America is families. The core of America, look at Norman Rockwell paintings. Look at Norman Rockwell paintings. I understand that Norman Rockwell is an idealized version of America. But you also have to understand that we need visions. And we need visions to move us forward. We need aesthetics. And the aesthetics that we want is Norman Rockwell. If you want to look at the fourth turning, just look it up. Look it up. Go to DuckDuckGo it. Just DuckDuck fourth turning. And so Norman Rockwell paintings are always about families. They're always about families. All the best Norman Rockwells are about families. Come on. Small business, community. We got to stop with the predatory capitalism. Read Confessions of an Economic Hitman. Stop. Family first. Family first. Is invading the Middle East helpful for our families? Is it? Is it when dad doesn't come home, when mom doesn't come home? How does that help our families? Right? You see, when you start with family values, then everywhere it leads you helps our country. When you start with family values, everything helps our country. We need to put families first. We need to put families first. Families like the Flynn family. Because supporting other families supports your own family. Supporting other people with their families, support your own. That's how you build up your own family, is you help other families. Have dinner as a family every night. Have dinner with your family every night. Sit around the table together. Why was General Flynn, when President Trump met Barack Obama in the Oval Office, who's the one person that Barack Obama told him not to hire? General Flynn. Flynn was already a target. And no screens. There's a no screen rule at dinner time. No screens. No phones, no tablets, no TVs. No screens at dinner. No. Janet was pointing out, yeah, Flynn was fired from both administrations. Family first. And that's what we're at, right? So we find that the FBI was looking into somebody with political differences. They were going to close the investigation, and then they reopened it because Strzok wanted him to reopen it. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Folks, if you want to move out of the fourth turning, and we all want to, we want the crisis period to be over, right? Is there anybody, and I think you'd all agree with me, that we're in, and we have been for some time, we've been in a crisis moment. We know that the Republic is on the brink. We know that the era of globalism is unsustainable. We know that. I think you'd all agree with me when I say that, right? And that's not a statement. That's not a partisan statement. All right. You don't even need to be a Trump supporter. You don't even need to be a Trump supporter to understand that we're facing a crisis in terms of our international agreements, in terms of our economy, because this pandemic has shown all the shortfalls in our economy. The fact that we don't have a manufacturing production base here in the United States. We can't make ventilators. We can't make masks. We don't make things anymore. And we're beholden to places like communist China, who do not have our interests at heart. They have their own interests at heart. I'm going to be doing a live podcast with the David Horowitz Center in about 2 hours. So I got to get ready for that. Talking all about China, all about Xi Jinping. Okay. It's called The Mandate of Xi. It's going to be very interesting. We've been in a cultural crisis because of social justice and the 1619 Project trying to destroy our values. What did Trump just say? Hold on, what did Trump just say? President Trump responded to a reporter asking if he would bring back General Flynn. I would certainly consider it. Ooh. Oh, well, here you go. He's someone at Scripps National Service says he is capable of coming back. He'll be exonerated one way. So breaking news, folks, we have breaking news right here on the scope. And this is why you watch Poso, because I'm able to multitask. I'm on one thing. I'm looking at your comments. We're going back and forth here, and I can explain this very quickly. So you got to be able to move quick. And that's why I'm one of the visionaries, right? When we talk about going from the fourth turning, resetting the cycle, so we have to reset the cycle. So part of that visionary experience is to be able to look forward from the fourth turning past the crisis point. You have to look past the crisis point through the reset to understand that we're going from America 7.0 into America 8.0. And so you have to understand what that kind of America is going to look like. But now we're seeing that there is breaking news. I am seeing that. So we can say that President Trump was taking questions, and President Trump has mentioned that he said Flynn is capable of coming back into the administration. He will be exonerated one way or the other. What that means, what that says to me is that when this is all said and done, you are going to see, and just wait for when you see it. Wait for when you see it, because we're moving from the era of globalization, the era of globalism, into the era of populism and nationalism. We're moving back into the era of populism, right? And you're seeing this. It's left and right. You can see it on. You can see there's a huge populist left, and if you haven't paid attention to that, then you're just blind. I don't know, or you're in an echo chamber, which a lot of people clearly are. But we've got, this is the breaking news. How great is it going to be? How great is it going to be when we see that picture of President Donald J. Trump and General Michael T. Flynn standing together, shoulder to shoulder, in the White House? It's coming. I'm telling you. That photo, that moment is coming. Flynn will be restored to where he should have always been. Wrong, what was wrong will be set right. And justice will come for the guilty. But see, Flynn was a visionary in a lot of ways, and people don't realize this, that Flynn was a visionary for the intelligence community. Flynn wanted to revamp the entire intelligence community. Flynn wanted to change the way we run Black Ops. He wanted to focus more on human intelligence collection. Flynn wanted to do so much, right? Flynn wanted to do so much. He wanted to do massive revamps. Read Field of Flight. Right? This stuff is all public. He wanted to move Black Ops from the CIA back to the Pentagon. He wanted to put it back under the Pentagon. All right. Flynn was the intelligence director of JSOC. All right. And if you understand, my veteran, followers and supporters of the podcast will know what JSOC is. Flynn was the intel director for JSOC. Okay. So Flynn knows more about special operations than like 99.9% of the country. Okay. And he wanted to move Black Ops out of CIA back into the Pentagon. All right. Did Black Ops used to be under the Pentagon? Right. You got to look at pre-Afghanistan, pre-war on terror, because Flynn was 82nd Airborne. Flynn was 82nd Airborne. People don't even know that. We're talking about Lieutenant Flynn, Captain Flynn. Flynn was attached to 82nd Airborne. Flynn was, he was one of the commanders at Fort Huachuca. I've gone through Fort Huachuca twice for various human intelligence training before I made my way to my Guantanamo deployment and before another deployment to a certain overseas location. And not going to catch me on that one. Lifetime NDA. But what we're saying, though, is that Flynn had a visionary model for revamping, because the current IC model was set up by the Clapper dynasty, right? It's currently the Clapper dynasty that's running the IC. I didn't mean to get into this so much, but all right, let me just explain this very quickly. Flynn wanted to dismantle the Clapper dynasty and revamp the IC. He wanted to get the IC back to a way that puts the war fighter and the intelligence collector in the driver's seat. And he wanted to get away from the way they do things now. All right. He wanted to move away from all that stuff. And so that was what upset the apple cart. Flynn was already revamping the DIA. Go look up the history of the Defense Clandestine Service and the rivalry, the massive rivalry and the anger that the Defense Clandestine Service created within the agency, right? The agency did not want the Defense Clandestine Service to exist because that was DIA doing human collection, right? They were so mad about it because DIA collectors were coming in at a more advanced level in their career. They were like mid-career folks, people who were veterans, people who had been in for a while. CIA collectors going through the farm and everything else. That's kids right out of the Ivy League, right out of secondary school or higher education. So you've got this situation where you've got like your grizzled old veterans who have been there, done that, salty chiefs, as we would say in the military, people who've got a couple of stripes versus like the college kid, elitist CIA people. Funny enough is if you've watched 13 Hours, which is the Benghazi movie that was done, I think Michael Bay was the director. I know he produced it. I don't know if he directed it, but it was done with Mark Geis and everyone else from Benghazi, who actually Chris Bronto, and they told the story, and I think they really portray the elitism of a typical CIA officer very well in that, very, very well in that. Right. So, right. Someone just said, I want Old Salt doing intel versus stuck up Ivy kids. Yeah, that's the situation, right? That was the situation. And Flynn wanted that as well. Flynn was like, we got to get back to the Old Salt way of doing things. We need to stop using PowerPoint. We need to stop, fighting wars with briefings, fighting wars with PowerPoint briefs, right? We need to go back to doing the job the way we know how to do the job. And we need to stop letting the Ivy League just run everything, just do whatever they want. We have to get back to the Old Salt, the people who have the experience. And Flynn was obviously very close friends with Erik Prince. And Erik Prince, of course, wanted to do this as well. Erik Prince said, stop having these troops in Afghanistan, and why don't you send over special warfare people, special operations veterans, right? Why would you send an 18-year-old kid from Oklahoma who joined the military because he loves his country? You're sending him to Afghanistan, which is a foreign culture, a foreign country, a place that, just at that point in your life, you don't have a lot of experience with. You don't understand the language. You don't understand the culture. Maybe a small percentage though, sure. But, talking about the proverbial kid from Oklahoma joins the military, joins infantry, wants to go 18 Bravo because Army, but gets there and doesn't understand the situation other than, pulling triggers and kicking doors. But you've got a situation then where you've got special operations veterans, right? Special operations veteran who probably knows the language, who definitely understands a lot about the culture, who definitely maybe even at that point has already built a source network within the area, so has a little bit of cultural cachet, and then as well as reputational cachet within the area, right? I knew people like that as well. And so what Prince was saying was, why don't we put those people in charge of these operations? And we save the 18-year-old from Oklahoma for when we're actually, when we're actually going to war with a major power, and then take the Ivy League elitists, and they can stay in Washington and they can write their little papers and they can do all that, but maybe get the Ivy League elitists off the battlefield. Just saying, just maybe not the best place for them. I'm not going to get into certain things, but there's some pretty bad and things that happened because those people were running things and didn't listen to DIA folks or the Old Salt, right? But that was the situation, right? That was the situation. And Flynn and Prince and all these other folks were trying to revamp it. They were trying to reform it. They had a vision for what our intelligence and military capabilities could be. Combined, by the way, it was a fusion. It was a total fusion. It was really revolutionary. And so read their books, read some of the papers that they put out. I interviewed Erik Prince a long time ago, talked to him about it. We've had Erik Prince here on on OAN. Yeah, you can't run the world from a walled garden, and that's simply the issue that we were in, right? We need people who have deep cultural understanding and experience to be our eyes and ears around the world, but also people who have America's best interests at heart. You can't have these people who are like, why would you take somebody who's a Sinophile and put them in charge of the China desk, right? It doesn't make any sense. Right, someone who's just, and that's the biggest problem with so many of these people is they get so wrapped up in their country or their area focus that they go native, right? They just totally go native, and it's called getting high on your own supply or becoming a mark for yourself, as they say in pro wrestling. Like, you can't be in love with that country because you study them so much, right? You have to You have to be in love with your own country because that is your job, right? We saw this on the Ukraine stuff, right? We saw all those people saying, what about the interest of Ukraine? What about the interest of Ukraine? How does this help Ukraine? It's, that's not your job. You're not the Minister of Defense of Ukraine. You are working for the United States of America. Okay, you are working for the United States of America, and it's your job to put Americans first. So shoot citizens versus understanding them. That's literally the exact opposite of what I've just been saying for the last 10 minutes. You need people who are understanding things, not people who are just pulling triggers, right? And that's what Flynn understood. That's what Prince understood. That's what so many people understood. This was the failure of Petraeus's COIN program, counterintelligence program. This is, this is the issue. This is completely the issue. How would I know? Okay. All right. How would I know? You know what? I'm not going to block you because I think you're funny. How would I know? Who's this guy? Who's this guy? Can I even speak the Chinese language? Seriously? Seriously? I'm just laughing. Do I even understand the difference between a Shiite or a Sunni? Who is this guy? Are you kidding me? Oh man. I don't know. It might be a Wu Mao. I'm not sure. I'm just laughing. It's just funny. No, it's just funny. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It's so funny. It's so funny. I was laughing. I'm like, not even a good troll. No, I'm not even like. I'm not. It's just funny. I'm just gonna laugh. Put him in the microwave. I'm not home right now. I don't have the microwave right here, but I gotta get home. No, I gotta get home. 我要回家的。야이도 도마, 야이도 도마. 中国混蛋，中国政府混蛋，中国共产党混蛋。我是中国，我喜欢中国人，我支持中国人，中国老百姓我支持，中国政府这是问题，中国共产党这是国家国际的问题，共产党是问题，不是老百姓。老百姓好伙计。Anyway, my droobs and droogies, I gotta run. It's been real. Smacking down some truth on you. Where's OAN located? Philadelphia? No, I'm from Philly, but I'm currently in Washington, D.C. And am I America's dream boy? Yes, it's true. It's actually true that I am. Trying to be honest. No, that Chinese stuff is for the Wu Maos that listen to me. 共产党是混蛋，对的。谢谢，不用谢。欢迎你们，再次聊天呢。No, I speak Mandarin and a very little bit of Shanghainese. 年年上海在有无法讲，我也不明白。Anyway, folks, it's been real. I totally got to go. David Horowitz podcast later tonight, 7 p.m. It will be live, and then I think tomorrow they will post it to their site and push it out on all their podcast stuff. Rock and roll. Ladies and gentlemen of Hoso Nation, all my droogs and droogies, I am once again reminding you that you have my permission to lay ashore.